Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Junkie Dolphin Gaming Pod. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew
Hello.
and Nathan.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Not
All
too
right.
shabby. Not too shabby at all. My body hurts from tarmacking yesterday, but apart from that, it's all good.
So, what were you tarmacking exactly?
A path. So the path
just
leading up
any
to my
path?
house.
Oh.
Oh, no, not any path.
So just
Yeah,
a
doing it out of
community
the goodness of
service.
my heart.
You sure you weren't doing this on House Flipper?
Ah, yes.
Do you know what? I'm doing House Flipper, but in real life, because last week I was painting, because I sent you a picture of my little hack where I used a takeaway thing to put the paint in,
Yes.
and now I'm doing tarmacking, so yeah.
You should
House
send your
flipper.
ideas in.
House
Yeah.
flipper, but it hurts.
But
Shall we move on to news then?
mm.
So, obviously, there was since the last pod, there was quite a big thing that happened, and that was the PlayStation Showcase.
Yes.
So they announced a bunch of things for our pleasure.
Yep.
What took our fancies from this? Should we start at the beginning for this then? I don't even know how to
Start
pronounce
if you
this. Is it fair game? Fair games? Fair game dollar? How'd you pronounce it? I think it's
I put it as
Game.
I
fair
would probably
games.
say fair games.
So,
Yeah.
fair games. Stylistically, fair game dollar.
Hmm.
So is this like an online multiplayer heist game? Is that what we're getting from this? That was my interpretation.
That's what I think so as well. Yeah.
Getting payday vibes.
Yes, I got Payday / Saints Row vibes. That's
I got
what
like
got.
Watchdog vibes.
Yeah, with the hacking
All
side.
the
I think the
vibes.
start of it was very hacky. So
Yeah. So it looks like, is it like multiple teams trying to get the same loot? Judging.
seems like it. Yeah.
vibes.
It looks as though it's like teams of 3, maybe like a 3-team survival thing. Everyone goes to try and complete the heist, as they would say, using all sorts of gadgets and whatnot.
I wasn't sure what to make of this.
No, neither have I. Considering it was billed as like a PlayStation Studios game as well.
Yeah, I take it, is this one of their live service things? But there are multiple ones there dragging out now.
I mean, we'll see. It was only like a cinematic, so it's not like we got to see any feel of like a gameplay. Like, do you think it'd be third person? Is it first person? Yeah,
I don't know.
exactly.
Yes.
Yes
That's
to all
nice.
those. Yeah.
Are you intrigued enough by it?
I'm not. Just seems pretty generic, to be honest.
Well, I'd still like us to play Payday.
At the moment,
Yes.
no. Yeah, we need to get around to playing Payday at some point.
Have I still got payday? Yeah, I think I have.
What's the
I'm
thing?
sure.
I know you said you weren't particularly a fan, Nate, because you were playing it on your own, though, weren't you? We've not
Yeah,
actually played
that's
it
true.
together yet, which it might be a different story.
I've not played a lot of things
Oh.
together yet.
It,
That's very true.
for me, for payday, it just seemed a bit too easy. I don't know why. I probably had it like cranked down to the lowest difficulty, knowing me, but there was just no challenge to it.
Oh,
Wow, that's. I thought that's how you liked your games.
Yeah.
No, that's all I'm a narrative-driven game, so I can
Oh,
just
right.
relax, enjoy the story, and get through it. But for shooters, sometimes I like my arse kicked every now and again.
I should play COD then.
True.
Yeah, I think this one, it's not got my intrigue as of yet. I think once they show off gameplay, if it's something interesting at that point, then maybe. But I think at the moment it's a bit of a no for me.
Yeah, there's not enough to go on, is there?
No.
From some flashy CG trailer. Okay, so we move on to something else then. Helldivers 2?
Yes. I initially thought this was like going to be Star Troopers. It looked very
Starship
on
Troopers.
brand. Yeah, sorry. Shot.
Yeah, well, now you say it, yeah. I can see that. But it's so Helldivers. Is this like a 10-year-old game or something? The first one, I believe the first one came out a while.
It might be as well. I actually can't remember the first one. I don't recall it at all.
But this is I'm guessing another live service shooter thing. Because it looks like you're playing squads, don't you?
Yeah, I think you play squads. It looks like a.
Is this
Maybe a
PvE
wave.
though?
Hmm.
I don't think
I
you're gonna-
could see
think
it
anyone's gonna
being
be
a
playing
bit
aliens.
of a Mixture, maybe.
Okay. I mean, I could be tempted loosely
Hmm.
if it's PvE, but PvP, nah, yeah, not for me.
No, I liked the humor in the trailer, but
Yeah, I love the trailer
gameplay
as well.
wise it didn't look too good. So.
When we were first watching the trailer, Lisa was sat next to me and she was like, "That looks like a real person." To be honest, it does look pretty good. The person that was doing
Yeah, I'll
like
give it.
the
CGI
kind of
was pretty good. I'll give it that.
infomercial style thing,
Yeah.
showing around like Super Earth or
Oh,
whatever
yes.
it's called.
Yeah.
Super Earth. I think after this one, we had like a new trailer for a game I think we've seen before, Immortals of Avium.
This is the first time I've seen it, although what I remember of it anyway.
I feel like we might have seen it before. I could be wrong, but
I was intrigued by this one. So this is like a sci-fi, well, I want to say shooter, but it wasn't a shooter per se, was it?
In a weird way, it's like
some
like
arm
Doom
weaponry.
and Harry Potter had like a baby or something.
But then, yeah, it's like something on his arm which allowed him to perform, I don't know, it just turned his arm into a weapon of some sort, didn't it? Like if fire powers from it and stuff.
It did seem to be like different types of powers.
I mean, to me, it's like they stole the Rift gun from Ratchet and Clank at some point.
I don't recall that though. I think that was just maybe it was just quick transitions between gameplays.
I liked the laser whip thing as well. And that was something to traverse around.
Yeah, that looked intriguing.
Well, that's coming out quite soon, isn't it? July the 20th. I thought the next one looked quite sick.
It did look pretty good.
It looked pretty slick, didn't it?
Ghost Runner 2.
Mm.
Now, was the first one on PS Plus?
It was, yes. Quite recently.
I still got to play
months ago.
So it's like I don't really know what it is. It's like is it hack and slash?
Yeah, I would say something like that. Like a first-person hack and slash speed run.
Yeah,
like you have to do it as quick as possible.
Yeah, but this one's got a motorcycle in it. I don't think that was in the first, was it?
No.
That looked really wicked. The sense of speed.
Yeah,
it's going down pretty cool. Yeah,
it's like, and it's set in like a cyberpunk-esque world, which, of course, for me, grabs my attention. But I need to play that first one.
Yeah, I've heard the first one was really good. It got some good reviews. So.
Ooh, the next one. I have to say,
this is down your alley,
I did think it was something else to begin with.
Yeah, me too. To be honest, when I found out it wasn't what I thought it was a little bit disappointing, but it looked good all the same.
Oh, come on. It didn't say PlayStation Studios. That should have been the first thing.
True, you are right. And plus, I did think it would have been a weird way for it to have been introduced. Because it just went straight
just
to
in the middle of...
Yeah, just running around the forest, wouldn't it? But anyway, what we're talking about is Phantom Blade Zero, I think it's called.
Yes, yeah.
It's like a samurai action game, by the looks of it. So obviously, not the Ghost of Tsushima sequel I was hoping for, but it's an interesting alternative. I'll take it. It looks a bit more fantastical, if that's a word.
Yeah, in terms of like the enemies, they're pretty strange.
Some dragon thing in there somewhere, I think.
Yeah, it was based on the Chinese dragon.
There we go. But I was intrigued by the statement that opened and closed it, which was, what's your plan knowing you only have 66 days to live? I wonder if that's going to play somewhere into the gameplay or whether it's just going to be plot. Probably just plot.
Yeah. It would be interesting if you literally had 66 days to live through the game and then you just died and dropped dead one day and then you had to start again.
Yeah. But the sword fighting, that got me hyped. That was good.
Very intrigued, yeah.
That was some wicked swordplay. The speed and the clinking, clinking, clinking.
Yeah, I think the speed. I think just the ability of being able to sort of fight two enemies at once, where you seem to be defending off both of them. That seemed quite cool. I've not seen that before.
I liked the parkour aspect as well, like running up a wall to jump off to then go and attack somebody.
Oh, he's doing like a spin attack sort of thing when he was doing it.
As a bit where he hid behind a pillar, didn't he? But it wasn't like just standing behind a pillar. It was like proper.
No, it was like
straight in gameplay. Yeah. Which is, come to think of it, it's not something you actually see much, is it? It's normally you just running around the thing just to try and hide. But no, it seems to be like
It used to be like all the rage, weren't it? Back when Gears of War came out, it seemed like everyone had to have like a cover-based mechanic. But then, like, it seems to have like died.
It's died
off.
away, yeah. But no, looks
It
good.
It looks gritty, and I'm there for it.
The only thing I'll say is a slight caveat to it was I was looking into the history behind it, and apparently it's like it's sort of a sequel of a mobile game that's already out. It's based off a mobile game called Phantom Blade.
Okay.
So
as long as it's not like a mobile game.
Microtransactions.
Yeah.
What, you pay for an extra day?
That's it. Yep. And it changes the.
You have 67 days to live. I'll be keeping an eye on that one though. It does look good.
Yeah, it'll fill the gap nicely to Ghost of Tsushima, whatever that may be. Next one. Nice to see a game like this again, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So as soon as it started, the style immediately told you what were coming, didn't it?
Exactly.
So this is Sword of the Sea, developed by Giant Squid, who made Abzu and the Pathless. And I think the founder was an art director on Journey as well.
Yeah, it was the visual director.
And he left to found Giant Squid. So it seems you have a magical sword that you basically use like as a hoverboard.
Oh yeah. You get to skate around the sea of sand.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Get to do flip tricks on half pipes.
Yeah, that really surprised me when I saw that. When I saw the half pipe and just flipping about. I'm like, it's not really what I expect from their type of games, but we'll see.
So it'll be tied in. It'll be like, you got to do a 900 to complete this puzzle.
But the world very much just reminded you of their games, didn't it? It's like this magical world with like glistening sand, reflective sunlight, minimalist art and that kind of thing.
Yeah. They have dolphins as well.
Yes, the flying dolphins.
And the whales, yeah.
Wicked. Sold.
Oh yeah, I'm down for it. It looks really good. Well, what do we think of the next game that got shown off? Pretty cyberpunk-esque feel to it. Although I've not played the original. The Talos Principle 2, yeah.
Again, I've got the first game, not played it.
I'm in like the same boat.
I know it's a puzzle game, isn't it? I believe.
Yeah, I believe this came out almost like around the same time as The Witness, and they had like a similar vibe to both games. So
I think you might be right. Yeah.
But
I've had it I've had it for quite a while. But the backlog.
The backlog.
Well, that's a really intriguing trailer. I did like that. Look at that. So was it
it looks like something about cyborgs trying to recapture humanity or something. Yeah.
So, but I'm sure things will be explained in the first game as well. Unless it's a completely different story, I don't know. Okay, what on earth was this next one about? I can't tell what this was. This just meant to be a short story to make us cry?
Oh,
this one, yeah.
Or is this not a game?
This didn't upset me. I didn't like it when the shadow creatures were ganging up on that dog deer thing.
Yeah, so what happens here is first of all, a bird dies, doesn't it? And then it sprouts into flowers.
Yeah.
Black flowers. And then a black cloud emerges and engulfs a woman and a big mythical wolf thing.
Yeah.
Was it
antlers?
Like tree things with antlers? Tree? I don't know.
It could be tree.
They weren't normal antlers.
Like,
but... And then some demon type things attack them in this cloud. And she tries to fend them off with a sword, but then is rendered unconscious. Wakes up to find this big wolf thing dead, but there's like a little wolf as well in there.
Yeah,
that seems to have survived, and that's it. It's just like, what are we supposed to take from this? It's like, we're just going to make you sad. So thanks for that. Never. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Never will do. Sound about right.
Don't really know what type of game it is though.
No, I could imagine it being like a 2D game.
So you think it might be a side scroller kind of thing?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna answer this one purely for the punnage. Cat Quest's Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm not quite sure that pun even works, but they've gone with it.
Oh, of course it works.
So cats as pirates. What more do you want? That
That's
seems
it.
to be the story, doesn't it?
Game of the year there.
Yeah, even for that pun alone. But that's coming next year.
That surprised me because it showed off quite a little bit of gameplay.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, that'll be maybe later this year. Nope, next year. What?
I mean, they might be trying to pad it out a bit more because it did look to me like a beat 'em up platformer style. So they might have only shown off.
Yeah,
like,
it reminded me a
maybe
little bit of
couple
like,
of first locations and then.
A bit like Cuphead
Mm.
kind of style, but yeah,
Okay.
that's my intrigue.
Yeah.
Unlike this next game.
Yeah, we've got opinions on this one, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Foam stars.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Square Enix.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's not beat around the bush. It's a Splatoon ripoff with foam.
Yeah. Poundland Splatoon. Yeah.
In 4K though.
Ooh. I'd say the characters looked awful. Regardless of the gameplay, I thought the characters just looked awful. The character models.
I thought when I first saw them and stuff, I thought they were going to be something from like One Piece. I was like, is this going to be like a One Piece game? And then suddenly it was not. And then the trailer continued, and then the gameplay started, and I was like, oh god.
There was an intriguing music choice as well. I didn't really understand what was actually going on. There was just a lot of blue and pink all over the place.
Yeah. The maps did look quite intriguing. There was that one where they were on a roulette wheel.
Yeah, it was like a Vegas theme, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But one thing I did like is that you could surf on the phone. I'll take that as a positive. Apart from that, plus it's
I wonder if they'll do it like if you can only surf on your team's form, or did it seem free form?
I thought they just went on everything, but I don't know.
Could have.
I didn't pay that much interest into it, if I'm honest.
No. As soon as I saw what it was, I was like, oh, okay, right. Does anyone think this is going to be like a free-to-play game?
It looks like it. They are going to market the crap out of the characters that you're going to have to buy.
PS Plus launch style.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, now you mentioned that, it gave me vibes of that. What was it called? Was it Destruction All Stars? Is that what it was called? Did that launch?
Probably, yeah.
On PS Plus.
Oh, that's the one where they were like throwing bombs at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but they were in the cars as well. You could destroy each other.
I'm getting familiar feels.
Square
this,
Enix,
perhaps.
though. They've really wasted their talents ever since they got rid of those very important IPs.
I'm seeing a bit of the next one before, aren't we? The Plucky Squire.
Yeah, I do really like the look of this one.
It's a nice looking game, isn't it?
So
it's like an adventure game set in, well, partly in an illustrated book.
Yeah.
So it's like on a 2D. And then he ends up popping out of it into the 3D world.
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Yeah, that's the bit that I really liked. Yeah. In terms of the art style, to me, it looks a lot like It Takes Two. In terms of like the exploration side, external stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll be looking out for that, and I think I'll give it a go.
I like the idea that they could have puzzles that involve both sort of like the sort of 2D playing aspect and 3D.
Yeah. You have to keep switching between the two.
Yeah.
There's the one where they were like, you had to jump into a post or something, and then move up and jump out or something like that. That's quite good. Because we're in a little.
There's one where he's like he's going down like a rope in between the different like flags.
Yes. Yeah.
That was it. That looked cool.
Now I've heard of this next one because it's on PC, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite big on PC actually.
Yeah, I did hear a lot of positive stuff about this.
I didn't know what this was. I just thought it was like Minecraft GTA, to be honest.
Yeah, graphically it did.
I mean, graphically, yeah, you're probably not wrong. I like the premise though. Like you go about doing like heist jobs, but you can complete them in sort of however you want to. So you could just go into the building and do what you need, or just like smash a car into the bricks and get in that way.
Yeah.
And everything is just destructible. I think that was the big sound point. Everything's
destructible.
Yeah.
This next one. Ooh.
I'm going to take 5, and you guys can wax lyrical about this one.
All right. We'll gush our love then while you're away.
Yeah. So we got a nice little CG trailer of a particular fun game from gaming history. So as soon as the bird appeared in this trailer, I knew exactly what it was because I recognised the bird.
Really, it wasn't until the bird landed on the tree branch and was like feeding on the dead frog, and then the snake appeared from underwater to grab it. I was made like, this
is the one.
This is the thing.
Yeah, but it's the bird because I recognise the bird. It's what the end has. That's his bird.
Oh, I should have recognised it.
Right, well, we should probably explain what it is. So this is the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, called Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Or, if you read online, Metal Gear Solid Triangle. Because it wasn't very clear what that symbol was.
But there was a few... Did you rewatch the trailer? Because there were a few like little Easter eggs in there, looking back.
Oh, perhaps not. I've seen it a couple times. Maybe I've missed them.
So obviously, as I said, you got the parrot, which is the ends. But then also when it goes through the electrified fence, I did recognise that as well because I recognise those fences are the ones that are outside the buildings in the jungle. Those electrified fences that it flies through.
Okay. Then they're around the the complex, the one with it's like a hospital, isn't it?
I think that's one of them. Yeah, I think there's a couple.
Hospital, mental.
And you have to crawl under the fence and all that.
Yeah. Okay.
But also in one of the shots when the bird's flying, when the lightning strikes, you can actually see the Shagohod being airlifted.
I think I remember seeing that actually. Yeah. There's the
But anyway, the bird comes in, flies down with the frog, lands on the tree as you mentioned, gets snapped up by attempted to get snapped up by a snake, who then gets attacked by a crocodile.
Yeah.
Or was it an alligator? One of the two.
We'll say alligator at this point.
And then when it started padding through those vines, that's it. I definitely knew because I very distinctly remember that that bit when you're walking through the vines in the game.
Oh,
in the water. And then in the darkness, snake appears.
Yep.
What a trailer. Loved it. Fantastic.
It was a good trailer.
And then, of course, doom, 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 doom. It started with the Snake Eater theme, which is a classic. Of course. What a thrill. I won't go through that thing. But, as I mentioned, it's called Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. And there was a bit of confusion about why it was called this. Because Delta is the 4th letter of the Greek alphabet when it's Metal Gear Solid 3. But the official Metal Gear Twitter account did explain the name change. Don't know if you saw this. They said the Delta symbol was chosen because its meaning fits the concept of the remake project. Delta means change or difference without changing structure. I guess that kind of makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
But yeah, did you see the screenshots that they released of this as well afterwards?
It does look really good.
It looks really good.
Do you think they're using the Fox engine for it?
Ooh, don't know. Possibly.
I'd have thought they would have. Then again, could be Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, possible. But then there was another announcement, wasn't there? The Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, Volume 1, which suggests there's going to be another one.
Yes.
But this has got Metal Gear Solid in it. Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. And, interestingly, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. The original one.
Well, that's good.
So, it is good, but I'm a bit confused as to why you've announced a remake and now you're putting this collection together which has got that in it. I just found that a bit puzzling. Because it was specifically Metal Gear Solid 3. It wasn't this Delta one.
Well, no, yeah,
as well.
Well, what they've actually mentioned, reading the website, is that the versions of Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 are the HD remakes. Well, remasters. They're also of the Substance versions as well.
Yeah.
So those were the like over the shoulder versions. The camera, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
So it's not like top down. So, but I actually think that's quite refreshing to see, because I feel like we've had like a streak now of like developers. Well, I won't say developers. Sorry, that's probably the wrong word. We'll say companies. They've announced like a remake, and then when it's come out, they've like delisted the originals. So now you can only play the remake. So it's actually kind of nice to see someone come out and go, look, we're remaking it, but we're also releasing the original. So you have a choice. You don't have to just stick to that one. Which I'm like, yay, good guy Konami? What? This doesn't sound right.
This is part of a package as well. So it's not like pay full price for the single game.
Oh, to add as well that I read about the Master Collection Volume 1. Included in it will also be the original Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake.
Yeah.
So, cool. I think I'll definitely look at buying it.
Although I don't know why they didn't advertise that as well, though.
Yeah, strange they didn't actually show that off in the...
That would have been a good selling point.
Really makes me wonder what would come for Volume 2, though. Like,
well, everyone keeps talking about, we need to get Metal Gear 4.
Well, we do. It's stuck on PS3.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's just stuck on PS3. It's trying to get it off of that thing. It's going to be very difficult.
I wonder if the reason for that is because they had so much product placement in there, like so much Sony, products that were in that. Do you think it's kind of locked with Sony? Do you think you'll ever see Metal Gear Solid 4 on an Xbox?
I can't remember exactly what was Sony branded in it. I don't remember it.
I
know there was.
there was the Walkman.
I thought they had an iPod in it. Didn't they have an Apple iPod?
You might be right.
That's what I thought they had. But surely you can just change that to generic listening.
Yeah, you'd think so. I wonder how
device.
long like the contracts are for that kind of placement as well. Like whether they've expired already.
Yeah, but I'm sure there'll be a workaround. But it's just the architecture of the console itself, isn't it? That's I think that's the biggest problem with it. But I just want a full
cell processor.
yeah. It's sad that we might not see that. But,
well, I hope so. I think my wish for Volume 2 would be the portable ops.
I think that's what we're thinking it's going to be, isn't it?
Peace Walker.
Yeah, Peace Walker.
4. I'd like 4 in there.
Yeah, I don't see it happening though.
Well, that's my wish list, so. If not, you know what? I'd like to see the Acid games. It's a collection.
I don't know. Maybe I'm interested to try it again. Maybe just at the time I wasn't interested because it wasn't the Metal Gear that I wanted.
True.
Because it was very different.
Well, I've wanted Twin Snakes to be on one of these. Never see it.
Yeah.
Give me the remake of the original Metal Gear, or just do that instead. I'll take that as well.
I just want to remake the first one from the ground up.
Yeah.
Just do it. And I have to say, I'm actually really looking forward to playing Metal Gear 2 again. Because I think Metal Gear 2 is so underrated compared to all the other ones. I love Metal Gear 2.
I'm going to clear up a little bit and suggest that you're saying Metal Gear Solid 2.
Correct. Sons of Liberty.
There is a Metal Gear 2.
Yes. That one.
That one. Yeah, I feel like it got unfair criticism over the character switch.
Yeah, it did.
I do think story-wise it is.
Looking back on it, I think it's tremendous.
I'll just quickly add as well, they did announce they're going to be using the original voices in the remake as well.
Yeah, there was a big hoo-ha.
But I think they announced that they're actually just taking the original audio and using it. I don't think they're actually making anything new.
The way I read this is that they were just copying and pasting the voices from the game. And yet everyone seems to be making a massive deal about, they're bringing them back to re-record it. And it's just like, I thought it was pretty clear by the statement
Yeah, it was a bit confusing a little bit, but I'd rather they just bring the original voice actors back and just re-record it.
I don't know, it's people's voices changing all that, doesn't it? That's been a while.
David Hayter still sounds like Snake at this point, so
I know.
I don't think that would go away.
I know in an ideal world, but nah, I don't think it's necessary. I mean, the voice acting was great as it was.
Or you could just use AI at this point.
Oh god. Oh god. Let's move on to the next game.
Yep. Towers of Agasba.
Skip.
Yeah.
Skip. Okay.
I have no interest.
I can't even remember it. What even was it?
Exactly. Skip.
Some anime thing.
Oh yeah. Okay. So next we got another new trailer for Final Fantasy 16.
Skip.
Fine, I'm the only one.
No,
who
if you
want to talk about it,
go. Please speak. What's your thoughts on it? I literally don't know anything about Final Fantasy, so.
Well, I mean, from all the stuff that we've seen, I do like that they seem to have gone back to like sort of like a medieval time period. There was a good few games in the series that kind of went a bit futuristic, so it's nice that they're kind of pulling it back. I think it's just the big standing point here is that you get to finally sort of control the summons, and you actually have like big summon fights in the game that don't just seem to be quick time events. You actually do like proper fighting, which seems pretty cool. Like on like a massive scale, it looks ridiculously kaiju-esque. So I love the look at that. I think just the combat as well. They seem to have embraced the whole like hack and slash, but add RPG elements to it as well. So it's not just turn-based. So I think people who might have been put off with Final Fantasy being a turn-based RPG for years, this could be something down your alley if you like hack and slash stuff. So plus it seems to be they're using a lot of British actors in this one as well, so it's funny seeing all the American people.
I did recognise one voice in that actually.
I recognised one. I can't
put a face or a name, but I just recognised the voice.
I can actually put a face to it, but I can't put the name to it. I'd have to research.
I don't know what the character's name was either, but
no. But I like the look of it. I probably won't get it like away because I've got too big of a backlog. So
the thing about Final Fantasy for me is I am fairly tempted to get into it because obviously we got Final Fantasy 7 remake on PS Plus.
Yeah,
I've got it installed on my old PS4, and I think to myself sometimes, oh, shall I give it a go? But it just seems so daunting at this point that there's more than 16 of them. Obviously, with all the side ones as well.
The thing that I'll tell you is that none of them are really linked to one another. There's no like ongoing arc. Each Final Fantasy game is kind of contained in itself, so you don't have to like think, oh, I've got to start from 1 to sort of know what the story is. You can literally start from 16, it'll be fine. The only ones that I think continue is like Final Fantasy 13's got about 2 sequels to it, and I think Final Fantasy 10 got a sequel, but other than that, you'd be fine. Like, I mean, you try 7 remake that was on PS Plus, just to see what you think of it. You don't really need to know the story of the original to get into it, so
might give it a go.
I'm not.
That's fine.
I've got too many other games anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So next one, Alan Wake 2. I wrote a 2-word note on this. Scary. Nope.
I wrote a 3-word thing. Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Was that the only one that said at least from Remedy?
I'll say he's got the look of Keanu Reeves about him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I thought he looked a bit like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Really?
Yeah, he's got that. I don't know. Some people seem to be torn between Jake and Keanu, and apparently it's just someone else who's a real model actor that just somehow looks like both.
Looks like both of them.
Yeah.
But then we got a bit more of Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Mm.
So doing his parkour stuff.
Yeah, it
Using-
seems to be taking it back to basics.
Well, people keep saying this, but that to me that's the same as the previous ones, isn't it?
No, come on.
It is.
You know how
do
Origins
parkour.
and like
Yeah, but, you
yeah,
still
but
do
it's
your
the
parkour
way you
stuff.
you can still parkour, but it's the whole point of being an assassin. Like from like Origins onwards, you're not really an assassin, are you?
You are of sorts.
Oh,
Anyway.
sorts, but not like pure. Anyway.
Well, all I'm saying is that it doesn't look any different to me. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing.
Oh.
I just don't understand why people keep saying it seems like a massive departure. Unless we get to the gameplay and we get playing it and we see.
Well, I think there was an announcement like they've kind of stripped back like the RPG stuff. It's like it's just pure.
But it's Ubisoft, so.
Well, there'll still be watchtowers and there'll still be like 1,000 icons on the map that obscure what's going on.
Well, exactly. Yeah, there was a bit of that diving, weren't there? And of course, whoa! I know that wasn't the sound, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the eagle.
The eagle sound. Well, you did mention something about possibly like multiple routes to take. It's like you mentioned like bribing guards, didn't it?
Yeah, I could
To look
see
the
I
other
could
way.
see this being like almost their Hitman, almost. You know, like having multiple ways of completing the mission, sort of thing.
But it did look like there's a possible like day-night cycle that you can choose. I got that interpretation because it showed a bit where you sat in a bed and then it changed from day to night. Whether that means the player
I
can
think
do that.
I feel like that was something you could do in Origins because I think there was a whole big gameplay of like
I can't remember.
you can do it during the day. There'll be less guards, but you'll become more visible. Whereas at night time, there's more guards because obviously there's more chance of being hidden in shadows and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was Origins. I can't
remember. I played Origins, but I don't remember that. It might have been in Odyssey, maybe. I don't know. But let's go in at October the 12th.
Cool. Right. Well, what about the next game that we saw? Revenant Hill.
Yeah, the black cat with glowing red eyes. To be honest, on this one, I really like the music. They're like Eastern European kind of old
French
style.
vibe.
You're getting a French vibe.
It did sound like very accordion-like, didn't it? So yeah, I didn't really know what to make of it because in a way, when I was watching it, it looked like maybe the cat was going forward in time, due to seeing like the old plague masks and then maybe like the Industrial Revolution, and then a bit of me thinking, is it just set in industrial times? But I didn't really get to see that much, to be honest. My best guess is it's just a platformer set in the 19th century, but I suppose we'll find out.
Yeah, I don't have many thoughts on this one.
Yeah, you could really get much from that.
Unlike this next game. I mean, it's just no anime again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
Yeah, me too, Mark. Me too.
It's a thing, I guess.
I mean, there was a few that looked quite similar.
Yeah, this is the thing. They all look interchangeable to me. That's the thing.
So,
I think I'm the same as you, Mark. Because I've not got any connection to these characters, it just doesn't mean anything. So it all kind of blends into one.
Yeah, I try and these type of games. I try and look to see if like the combat's any good or like if the story seems interesting. But there weren't much from this one.
So then we got a new CG trailer for Street Fighter 6. Didn't we?
Woo, yep. Another look at World Tour.
There's a lot of people running around, whacking each other.
Yep.
Can't complain.
That's how you do it. That's Street Fighter.
Aye.
To me, it seems strange that they actually put it in because it's out now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well,
Well, it went out
It wasn't at the time.
when
at the time,
the
was
showcase
it?
came
Yeah.
out.
No, but it was like literally a few days away.
Yeah, it's just like a last-ditch inclusion for some reason. Not quite sure why. It wasn't needed in there anyway.
Yeah. Just in case we forgot the 7 other trailers that we've seen.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mav?
This next one, Ultros.
Mm.
I felt like on LSD. I'm not going to
Yeah.
lie.
Just psychedelic,
watching-
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Trippy. It's like a very colourful side scroller kind of thing.
Yeah.
Remind me like many almost like Metroidvania type of games. That sort of 2D side scrolling style where you're going through big levels. Yes, Austin. And probably collecting up, power ups to unlock more areas. I don't know, maybe that kind of style.
Yeah, because
Seems
there
like
was like the combat aspects of it, so yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Did seem interesting the powers though. You seem to throw maybe like a seed that planted vines to be able to swing to get to new places. That seemed interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I just loved all the colours personally. That was like the big bit for me.
it was very, very colourful. Oh, speaking of anime again, Tower of Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
So then the next game we got, which is far more interesting, and is definitely on my radar anyway, is we got first gameplay look of Dragon's Dogma 2. Looks I'd probably say looks about the same as the first game. It was very RPG heavy and kind of inspired by Skyrim a little bit, but just in third person. But it looks cool. It seems as though the pawn system's back. So that was in the original game, you could spawn NPCs to be part of your party.
Sorry, Matt. I thought you said the pawn system for a second. I'm like, what?
So did I.
Right, the pawn. PAWN.
Yeah. So you did say that.
Oh, I thought you meant spawn.
Yes, because in the next sentence you then said spawn.
Anyway, sorry. Do carry on.
Anyway.
It's just our perverted minds. That's all.
You know what? I probably did say the word, and then you took it anyway.
No, you did say the word. You just meant the other one.
Yeah, I meant the other one.
Version.
I've lost my train of thought now. So
Dragon's Dogma, you like it?
Yes, being able to fight giant monsters and griffins and all that kind of stuff. It's definitely set in like a fantasy setting, and we got like a look of the Medusa as well. Sure, that'd be quite fun to fight. I'm sure the world will be massive as well, like it was in the original. Although I think the original, it was more like, I don't think it was quite open world. I think it was kind of like a semi-open world where like you had areas that you could go into and then you had to like load into other ones. Whereas I hope this one's like a fully fledged open world. That'd be cool. So, and obviously dragons. The dragons looked terrifying in this one. So,
I guess then we began to move on to VR, didn't we?
Oh, this game's up your alley, isn't it, Mark?
Well, I wrote a 3-word review. More scary. Nope.
More scary.
I really enjoyed this trailer, mainly because of like the employer-employee dynamic jokes, and they hit a little bit too close to home. And then I got a bit upset.
Yes, we got to see Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2.
Yeah.
So, looks to be initially set on there's so many games in the series. I think it's called Sister's Location. With the way it came down, it starts in like a circular elevator. So, looks to be based on that. But yeah, no, I'm not playing this game. I already don't even like to want to play the original, so VR would just kill me.
But then we got Resident Evil 4 VR mode, and I wrote a 4-word review. Even more scary. Nope.
That's pretty similar to my review. Will not be playing that.
Oh, come on. You know you'd want to play.
My chainsaw friend, though, I can go and see him.
Yeah,
Would you want to see that in VR, though?
Hell no.
Would you really want to see that in VR? No.
I mean, it looks fun to me.
Looks fun.
It scared me enough
does.
playing it normally. Never mind in VR.
Look, I've played the originals, so I know where the scare parts are, so I can prepare myself. 7, no, I don't think I could ever go through 7 again because that atmosphere is definitely scary.
I mean, it is a great addition. I mean, they seem to be doing really well with their VR ports.
I had some
Really?
good stuff over the Village one, so plus the original Resident Evil 4 that they made for Quest 2. There's some good things in that as well. So
it's just a shame. It's a genre I ain't gonna touch. But that's I think that's it's becoming a bit of an annoyance with VR for me. There's a lot of
horror.
A lot of
horror.
things seem to be based horror wise.
I think it's because it's probably the genre that
can utilize VR probably.
Utilizes VR quite well.
Yeah.
So
particularly with things like the eye tracking. But speaking of scary stuff, there's something that's kind of you could say was scary, but it's actually more comical, really, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit lighter.
Yeah, that's Arizona Sunshine 2. Never played the first one.
Do you have like a forward review for that as well? Not too scary. Still
no, but I'd be more inclined to play this than any of the other ones.
Yeah, this seems a bit more light-hearted, doesn't it? In terms of like the quips of the protagonist. There's a dog.
Yeah.
So that's always a plus.
Yeah.
And the fun ways you can kill the zombies. Yeah.
Slapping around with it.
Oh, you're just slapping them. I did try to give the original go on VR. I wish I could have enjoyed it. I feel like my setup of the initial VR was what didn't make me enjoy it. I didn't enjoy much stuff in VR because my setup was rubbish. So hopefully, in the new PSVR 2 will be a lot better.
Yeah, it would be good if they could potentially upgrade the original, to use PSVR 2 to give people like a taster again into the second one.
Actually, we do that with a lot of the original VR games. So,
because let's face it, we're never going to play Star Trek Bridge Crew unless they upgrade that.
It needs to make a sequel.
But then we had Crossfire Sierra Squad.
Yeah, this just screamed generic shooter. Yeah.
Generic tactical military shooter where you're like sweeping buildings and taking out terrorists, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything like Rainbow Six Siege in VR, I'd be up for it.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah.
But then we got one we've seen a bit of quite recently, isn't it? Synapse.
Yeah.
Synapse.
Synapse. Something like that.
But I think there was a bit more of the story here, wasn't there? So to me, it looks like a guy infiltrates like some coastal house, and he gets sucked into like some device that takes him into the mind of someone. That's my interpretation, anyway.
Yeah,
that's how I took it. Yeah, like you need to get into this guy's mind to be able to obviously stop him or something like that.
Very Inception.
But
that comes out July the 4th.
Yeah, not too long.
I did like look at this one. It does look a little bit more interesting. You've got sort of like force powers. You move like objects and enemies around and stuff, and a little bit better. Plus, I mean, you always get like a plus point when you've got David Hayter in the game. So.
Ah, yes.
As soon as he started talking, I was like, I know that voice immediately.
Yeah, I like the art style of this, and as Matt said, like the telepathy aspect of it is an interesting mechanic. So
yeah, I will say it seemed a bit like a first-person roguelite as well. It seemed to have that aspect to that. If you die, you come back and you have to sort of start all over again, sort of thing. But you get to keep certain things. The voiceover, the female voiceover, seemed to indicate that.
Yeah.
So, but cool.
And then finally, as part of the VR stuff, we got a shadow drop. Beat Saber. Went to PSVR 2.
I've always wanted to play this game.
I think it was inevitable.
Yeah. Just to its popularity alone. But I've heard that, I mean, it might be patched now, but some people were having like timing and like alignment issues with the sense controllers.
Oh, okay.
But Well, but it also announced there's going to be the Queen music pack.
Yes, anyone that was streaming the showcase at this point had to mute it. So,
yeah.
For any copyright music they played through.
But no, I'm intrigued by Beat Saber. I might get it. What about this next one? This was intriguing. Bungie. Back. The one called Marathon.
Oh, a very classic series of this.
So it showed like some sort of weird experiments of some kind. And then a guy running from somewhere gets sniped.
Yep.
And
Starts
then,
melting.
Yeah. And then he zoomed out to show like a hurricane kind of thing that was going on. And then there's like a broken moon planet.
Yeah, like
that.
a ship
That's
that's gone
exploded.
straight through the moon, yeah.
Yeah. Intriguing.
I liked the 3D printing caterpillars. That was my favourite bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I was intrigued in this because I know it was like the first series that Bungie ever worked on. So I was like, okay, this would be cool. It would be like a reimagining of what it used to be. And then I read a little bit of news about it. And apparently it's actually going to be like a PvP shooter. So like Mark's face right now, my enthusiasm for the series suddenly dropped.
Well, it was nice while it lasted, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But that wasn't all from Bungie, was it? So then there was a little CG trailer of Destiny 2: The Final Shape.
Do you think this will be the last DLC they do for
I believe it is.
Destiny
yes.
2? Sounds like it's going to be.
Yes, because they also announced there's going to be a showcase on the 22nd of August about it.
Apparently the return of a fan favorite character as well. Clyde, I believe. Clyde 6.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know much about Destiny.
I mean, that's from what I know. I think he's voiced by Nolan North. So
this next one didn't really get much from this. Concord.
Oh, Concord, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is made by Firewalk. So it showed like the interior of a spaceship as it's. I imagine this is about to enter a warp jump or something like that, or is it about to enter an atmosphere somewhere?
It seemed like it was burning up. I think.
Couldn't really get much else from this, but I have to say it did have the best looking CGI burger since the Resi 2 remake.
It did make me hungry.
It was good, yeah.
That was good. Yeah, that's coming next year, which is unsurprising because I couldn't really get anything from this. So it sort of reminded me of the what's the game called? The sci-fi game coming up. My mind's got blank. Starfield. That's the one. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Starfield.
Really?
With the CG trailer, where in that it showed like the interior of a spaceship and the stuff lying around. But I think that's probably where the similarities end.
Yeah, probably. I like the synth music in the background, so it makes me think it's going to be quite 80s, obviously.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then next they had to slip in that Gran Turismo trailer, didn't they?
Got to get that in there.
God. I'd already forgotten about it, to be honest.
Yeah, so this is based on the true story of a guy who can't remember it. I forgot his name. So he was a Gran Turismo player who then became a real racing driver. So I'm expecting some like rags to riches journey.
Oh yeah.
With probably a cliche love story thrown in there as well.
Who was that? There was an actor in there that seemed familiar.
David Harbour from Stranger
That
Things.
was it, yeah.
And Orlando Bloom's.
Orlando
well.
Bloom's, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got great respect for the director of this. That's Neil Blomkamp. I really like his other work.
What's he done?
District 9.
Like
the aliens in South Africa.
Did Elysium as well?
Yeah, Elysium.
Oh, Elysium.
But I'd urge you to watch some of his short films. He's got some. He founded a studio called Oats Studio. You can find their short films online on YouTube. They're really good. I just find it a bit so weird because it's not the sort of thing I would expect him to do. This. He's more like very sci-fi centric.
Yeah. To be fair, for all the like different like pictures on where whatever story they could have done for Gran Turismo, I'm quite like pleasantly surprised they've used this one. It's based on a real story and it seems to be like ingrained into the actual game itself. Like it feels important rather than making some silly thing that like Need for Speed did.
Just like generic
So I'm
racer.
like, okay, yeah.
That's the name. Yeah.
Well, that's it. It could just be a generic racing film, but this is like, oh no, we're actually going to base it on like, almost like rags to riches kind of story. I'm like, okay, I'll give you respect for that. Might actually watch it and see if it's any good.
Yeah, I'm sold on it because of the director. I do trust him. So above it, because when they first announced this, I thought, what?
Oh, so you're
Yeah, it
like,
does
what?
seem out
How
there,
can you
doesn't
do a
it?
film about Gran Turismo?
We'll
Gotta
see.
get those licenses.
I'm sure we shall be going to see that, and I'm sure we'll report back to that on this pod. But then, before we got to the final game, there's a couple of other interesting announcements, weren't there?
Yeah. Hardware announcements.
So I should begin with Project Q.
Yeah.
Like you.
It's just a code name, isn't it? But,
So this is essentially a tablet with a PS5 controller merged in there.
yeah, it says it's a dedicated device that enables you to stream any game from your PS5 console using remote play over Wi-Fi. It's got an 8-inch HD screen and all the buttons and the features of DualSense. And basically, it does look like a DualSense has been cut in half with like a switch screen glued in between them.
So it's
That's
like
kinda
it's like
what I
someone's
thought.
used the fuse power from Tears of the Kingdom. Right, we're gonna fuse this PS5 controller with this tablet.
Sure.
Or Sony have just gone, like Wii U gamepad. We want that.
It's interesting. I don't know how popular it will be.
I think it all depends on the price point. I think it's going to be 200 quid. If
I
it was
think it's gonna
100,
be a bit more.
if it was 150, fantastic. But I think it's going to be 200.
It's all right. You're gonna snap one up anyway. So
Of course, I'll buy it regardless. Yeah, it has. In terms of like the screen itself, it is 1080p, 60 FPS. So
There are reports that it might have a bad battery life, though. But that's just rumor. But who knows?
Yeah,
Not to wait
let's
for more
see.
details. I was more
Yeah.
intrigued by the other announcement, to be honest.
really,
Yes, I was really interested in this one. So the PlayStation earbuds. I've been wanting earbuds for so long to use with a console.
the thing with earbuds though, the mic's got to be good.
Oh no, but I don't care.
No,
about
he's not-
it.
you're not
I
gonna use it
wouldn't-
for
I wouldn't
mic,
use it
are
for-
you? It's
It's
gonna
just
be
I'm
just
using it for audio.
What, just for you playing games
Yes.
yourself? Okay.
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't use them for online co-op. I just stick with my headset. But it's just you can move and maneuver around. I like to watch, if I'm watching films that I'm streaming. Sometimes I like to put headset on instead, and having that tethered to my controller is a bit awkward. It's like if I want to have
get a wireless headset.
no, but it's just a lot easier, and a lot more comfortable. Not just tip over off your head and things like that.
Yeah, I can see that. Plus, you'll be able to use
This is a lot lighter as well.
These for your PC as well, and your phone.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Just wish it works with Xbox as well, but of course that's not going to
that's
happen.
not
I'm sure you can somehow find a way to use it.
yeah, there'll be a dongle you can buy that'll connect it.
Someone will hack something weird and it'll work.
I can see me buy these. Well, again,
How much do you think it'll
depending
be?
on price.
I reckon
Yeah.
they're going to be about 120 quid.
Well, that's no different from an AirPods. So
Yeah, that's where I'm kind of placing them in terms of that high end.
yeah,
Is
price
that
range.
really worth it?
yes, I've got some AirPods. They're really worth it. If you've got Apple stuff, but anyway,
I feel
but
poor.
they
Uh,
feel poor. No. But Jim Ryan he said they are new wireless technology that will deliver lossless audio with low latency. Technical jargon.
Yeah,
sound like buzzwords to me.
I did like the case it came with, like the flip.
Yeah, that was cool,
thing.
wasn't it?
That's pretty good.
I'll give it that.
So shall we get on to the final game then?
Yep, the most important game.
Looked a bit good. So it's Marvel Spider-Man 2.
When I saw the start of this trailer, I didn't even connect that it was Spider-Man. I thought it was going to be something else.
I was getting Predator vibes. It was in the jungle.
Yeah, it's a good shout, actually. Yeah.
And it was acting like something was like looking for them.
Once I heard like the voiceover, I immediately clicked it was like Craven. So
It did tell me until they showed him the tablet. I'm like, oh right, that's what this game is.
he took until the tablet.
Yeah, with a big picture of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
It's like, oh right, that's it. Okay.
That's this game.
Basically, Craven the Hunter's in the forest. You find some other dude. I don't know who the other dude is.
Yeah, it's like they brought some mercenaries to try and hunt him as like a
like a
sport,
challenge.
basically. Yeah,
And then
and the guy was like, no challenge.
Yeah, it was so crap. And then Craven did him in, just tossed him aside.
Twist his neck and then throw him away.
Off you go. And then some other dude in his party says, "Oh yeah, go here to New York and try and hunt all these
Animals.
heroes." Things. So yeah, 6 months later, they go to Queens, New York, and that's where we kick off with the showcase, basically, don't we? So Craven and his gang go hunting lizard. It would appear, but then we kicked off with some combat with a symbiote Peter Parker.
Yep.
Look good, doesn't it?
I can't wait for this. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
It did look. I think it did seem at this point it was when he just got the symbiote. So if you see him originally when he pops out of the basement, he is still kind of in his I suppose advanced suit.
Yeah.
It's only when he lands that the symbiote essentially starts forming around him and make it. Originally, before the suit finally like cleared up, originally I was like, oh god, that's a horrible suit. Why is that? That doesn't look right. And then he like formed back over. I was like, oh, okay, that looks a lot better.
Yeah. A lot of tentacle action. Big fan of that.
Yep. There you are.
Yeah. It's like 4 tentacles picking all people up and then just slamming against the ground. I did like the one where he just grabbed the guy and just starts smashing him between 2 walls. That's quite funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He just starts kicking him in midriff and against the wall.
And yet they'll still say Spider-Man's not a murderer.
Yeah.
Of course he's not.
All them people he chucked off a building. Anyway.
Yeah. Look, they were webmed back to the building. They just also was
Yeah.
Where
but how did they get down?
Yeah, where they starve to death. Actually, it dissolves, doesn't it? So there's still false to death.
Yeah.
I'm sure
He's a
he gives
murderer.
calls to cops and like, look, this guy on the Empire State Building, you might want to bring him down.
Yeah, good luck with that one, copper. but then bit of plot happens and then he listens to something over the radio, doesn't he? And it says switch to Miles.
I really like that mechanic.
It just make me question though, is that just a plot thing? That you press it when it prompts you to in plot? Or is that something you can do in general gameplay?
I've read somewhere in general just free roam gameplay you will be able to switch between them freely.
Good. I imagine you probably could, but
yeah, I think they mention as well as the story goes on, there'll be at points where it will prompt you to switch between, sort of continue the story. But free roam you'll be able to switch between.
I'm hoping for something like GTA where you switch over to Trevor and he's like killing a prostitute. Not exactly that, just as an example.
All right,
but you can see him doing stuff that they would in the day-to-day lives, you know, to kind of expand on the character a bit.
It would be cool. It'd be cool. It'd be like if you were playing as Miles, you switch over to Peter, and he's just sat somewhere like eating a sandwich, and then like suddenly puts his like face mask back on and like starts swinging. I have like a little cutscene just to like get a little bit of their character and stuff and like personality. That'd be cool.
So as if the web slinging wasn't good enough, we now got gliding.
The wingsuit.
Yeah,
that looks fun.
That looks wicked. Traversing around New York is never going to be so good.
Oh, it's going to be so fun.
I
did want to know at that point when he was coming through and he started going through these like
the ring
wind things. I was like, okay, was that part of the story or was that something he activated?
The way I saw it is it's some sort of like airflow system that was speeding him up.
Yeah.
That's the way I interpreted it. But how that works, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be like a in-game reason as to why they seem to be around. Cool though. I love the idea of them.
Yeah, when it came up, I got Superman 64 PTSD.
Yeah. But I did read that apparently this is supposed to be like double the size of the map from last game.
They did, yeah. They said it's twice the size as the original's New York, because they've got the boroughs added to it as well now. You got like Queens and some other areas. I wonder if they'll have like a full underground system as well, because you've got the lizard, and that's
Yeah.
primarily where he seems to like hide and stuff. That'd be cool. Have a full like subway/sewer map underneath.
It's probably just as well we've got a gliding mechanic now. If they've got double the size.
Just get around quicker.
Yeah. So then we got shown some new stealth abilities, didn't we? Like the time multiple enemies up from the ceiling.
I like that you can attach the web line to wherever you want now.
Yeah, make your own
That was
wires to walk across. Yeah, that's really good. I did like that. But yeah, there's pretty cool electrical powers. So Miles.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't explain them. It's just a lot of electricity going off, smacking people around. And basically, this was a Miles sneaking through a building looking for corners, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Peter ends up rocking up. And then, actually, the dude with the flying robot thingamabob. What's his name?
Genki.
That's the one. He turned up as well, didn't he? So the three of them are there. Lizard pops up. And then we just went on this mad chase sequence down the river.
Oh, that was cool. I loved it.
So then Craven and his goons are then chasing Lizard. Was it Peter or Miles who was using the swinging cranes? I think it was Miles, wasn't it? We're still using them.
Yeah, man. It's one of those.
He's attacking the jet skis and things like that.
I find it funny with those cranes though. It's always like the convenience.
Yeah, conveniently.
Like if they weren't there, what are they gonna do?
I did like the bit where it showed you he glided inside like a cabin or something, didn't it?
Oh, that was Peter, wasn't
Peter,
he? He glides through.
It's like some crane.
I feel like it was like a train. I feel like it was
did
like a
look
train
like
on
it.
a crane sort of thing. He flew right through.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I like some of the original games where they had those like almost like chimneys on a crane that you could go through.
Yeah.
Oh, they were fun.
Then started doing a bit of water skiing. Being chased by a lizard, trying to chomp you. And then it finished off with the teamwork between the two, didn't it? The alley-oop, as I like to say. Destroying the drones. But then I think there's a bit of a plot point, wasn't there? It's where it seemed like the symbiote might be affecting Peter a bit.
Yeah.
Well, he started
sure
off
we'll
like
play
a deeper voice, didn't he, when he was talking? He was kind of shouting a lot.
But yeah,
Apparently his teeth are as big as lizards.
that's pretty much where it ended, wasn't it? Looks good. Looks really good.
I don't know if this was something you noticed either. I don't know if it was if it could have been a graphic thing, like something changed that didn't need to. But like when you first see Parker in the symbiote suit, he's got like the massive white eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And then towards the end when he's sat down with Miles and you see that close up of him when he turns. I thought I noticed his eyes shaped a little different. They seemed to be a little bit more sharp. Not sharp, but like they're like a possible like fangs. You know, like how Venom's eyes are very kind of zigzag almost.
Yeah.
I thought I saw an initial look at it, so I thought, ooh, maybe that might be the longer Peter has it, the more his suit starts changing a little. I could be wrong. It could very well be. It was very slight, so it could just be like a graphic thing. So
I can see that.
Because it did say, I think it was from an alpha build. What they showed off, so it could be just a slight graphical glitch. But I hope so. It would be cool to start seeing his suit change a little bit to see that more of like a Venom influence and stuff.
Do you reckon later on in game we'll see a Peter versus Miles as the symbiote takes over?
Definitely. I thought about that when they were both sat there. I was like, you gotta have Peter versus Miles at some point.
Miles is there like Palpatine with lightning.
Unlimited power.
Thing is, I do wonder who will end up becoming Venom in this game, because there was a bit of a talk. There's a little bit of dialogue in that sequence where I think Peter mentioned something about Harry being in trouble or something. So it did seem that Like we've already got the teaser that Harry is suffering from some sort of illness in the like Easter eggs that we saw at the end of the original game in Miles, and we saw I think it was the original game, wasn't it, that he had the symbiote attached to him at one point, but now it's off him, so it's like, ooh, okay, what's happened there? I'm intrigued. I think they'll do a really good story with this.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Mm.
When did we think it was? Did we think it was going to be September?
Yeah, September.
Or was it announced? Was the announced date?
It said fall 2023.
Because there was that dude who was in it who I think he mentioned that it was going to be September, didn't it? Because they were going to do the marketing. You know the guy who was on Twitter who did the Venom voice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then drowned himself.
Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, there you go. That was the PlayStation Showcase. And I guess that's it for the news. Shall we move on to what we're currently playing?
Let's do it.
Yeah, go on.
Shall I kick us off?
Go on then, Mark.
All right.
Okay. So I've been playing a little game called The Suicide of Rachel Foster. Now, as you may have guessed from that time
before.
Yeah, the game does deal with some pretty dark themes. So the game is set in December 1993, and you play a young woman called Nicole Wilson, who at the beginning is reading a letter given to her from her now deceased mother, called Claire. And her father Leonard, who is now also deceased, was the owner of a hotel in Lewis and Clark County, Montana, called the Timberline Hotel. And 20 years earlier, in 1983, Leonard began grooming a 16-year-old girl by the name of Rachel Foster. And Rachel was Nicole's classmate at school. And once this relationship was exposed, Rachel seemingly committed suicide while she was 9 weeks pregnant. And hence the game's title. And this obviously destroyed their family. And Nicole and her mother left the hotel to go live a new life. And now, following the death of both her parents, Nicole has now inherited this hotel. And she's instructed by this letter to sell it. And therefore, like, get closure on this dark chapter in their family history. So she travels there to meet a lawyer and to do like a quick inspection. She wants to be in and out. She just doesn't want anything to do with the place. But then, unfortunately, a snowstorm occurs, and she ends up getting stranded there. She can't leave because the snow's just too bad, and the lawyer can't get there either. So while she's there, she's contacted over the phone by a man called Irving, who works as part of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and he appears to have knowledge of both the hotel and the events of what happened 20 years ago, because he used to like deliver supplies to the hotel and all that. So the game is played from a first-person perspective, and as you walk around the hotel, essentially trying to find ways to survive whilst you're stuck there. And throughout the game, Irving talks and gives assistance to you over a mobile phone, and he provides advice of what he knows about the hotel that could probably help you. But then she receives a mysterious phone call on the landline of the hotel, which is supposed to be no longer in use. It's supposed to be a dead line now. And from this, it prompts her to start investigating the circumstances around Rachel's death. So over a series of days, Nicole, with Irving's assistance, searches the hotel for clues. So when you walk around, you basically interact and look at certain objects, and they basically help expand the backstory of it. And you also come across like some key items that you can use as well. Now, thematically, it does feel, well, you can say it's a walking simulator, but it's probably a walking simulator / horror. But it's probably not in a traditional sense of a horror. The horror is more provided by like the tone of it. So the whole game has like a sense of unease as you walk around like this abandoned hotel alone. I mean, visually, it's stunning. It looks really good. And I believe it's Unreal 4. That's it. And it's like an almost photorealistic look to it. Quite similar to like, PT. That kind of look. It doesn't look like that's quite a disturbing comparison to make. But it does really have like it it appears to have like a haunting quality to it. And I mean, there's even a bit in it where the power goes out in the hotel because obviously of the snowstorm, and you've got to find the generator to switch it back on. But the only light source you come across is the flash of a Polaroid camera. So you walk around a bit, flashing this Polaroid camera, and then you take a few more steps, flash, and it's just like you've got this tension that's just there. It's like, if I'm going to flash the camera, is something going to be there, standing there, or something, or someone? It's just really unnerving. And then at the beginning of the game, it encourages you to put headphones on, because, and I can see why, because after playing it, the sound design is top class. You can hear all like the creaks and the reverberations and the resonant sounds of this like dilapidated hotel around you. And it just comes together to make this like discomforting ambience. Very much was liking it to two games that came to mind. It was Firewatch and What Remains of Edith Finch. Now the former, I really liked. The latter, not so much, but that's a different story. But I did rather enjoy this. It's like an intriguing little narrative game, which, as I said earlier, covers some pretty dark themes. At the start, it does say, it does ask to seek help if you're affected by any of the issues that are raised in it. But finally, aside from that, annoyingly though, after I completed it, I found out I was only one trophy away from getting the platinum.
Ooh.
And even more annoyingly, there's no chapter select option.
Oh, no.
So you gotta go
to get
through
it, I would have to start it again. Yes.
How long is it?
It's only about 3 hours or so. It's not too long. So I could probably get there quite easily, but to get to that point, it'd probably take me at least an hour and a half, something like that. I don't know if I can be bothered again. Because it's separated into days, and apparently this is on day 6. This thing where I can get this trophy. And am I going to get it? Don't know. Oh, well, I probably am, aren't I? I'm that trophy whore. It's going to happen.
That's it.
Yeah.
What, 1.5 hours?
Both
Well
of you
worth
turned
it.
into it. I don't think I've got any plans this year.
Yeah. But no, it's really good. It's a nice. It's not nice. It's really not nice. It's
an experience.
Yeah, it's like the kind of horror that I like. It's not like jump scares and things coming at you, chasing you. It's just a unnerving tension throughout the game. I just think I thought it was really good for what it was. But then I played one other thing. Not much of it, but a bit of it. And now, Matt, you might want to talk about this as well. Maybe? I don't know. But I've only gone and bought Street Fighter 6.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Back on the fighting hype.
Yeah. But it's mainly
Addicted to fighting games now.
Yeah, it would appear so. But I've read, because I've read really good reviews about it. I actually played a bit of the demo beforehand. Yeah, but I never mentioned that on the podcast because I just wanted to save it in case I bought the actual game, which I have done. Now, I've only really bought it for World Tour. Now, I'm sure I'm going to delve into the other stuff, but World Tour was the thing that grasped me most. So, obviously, you begin by creating a character. So you can do quite a bit of that, the design to your fighter, and then you are enrolled on a fighter training school with Luke as your coach. And at the same time, another character called Bosch, I think that's his name, has joined the school, and he's quite eager and brash, and he wants to do like meaty stuff. He wants to proper get into it. So you have a little sparring session in the gym, and Luke says, if you want the real deal, go out onto the streets of Metro City. Well, it's called Metro City. It's quite obviously just New York. I don't really know why they call it Metro City, because it's got the Statue of Liberty, it's got Times Square, all very odd. But I know Metro City's got a history in Street Fighter, hasn't it? So gameplay-wise, you go into Times Square, and you do a bit of training with a woman called Alice, who Luke has asked you to meet, and then you're then free to wander around the open world, which is the part that really interested me. So you can run around, talk to certain people, and then randomly just pick a fight with them, which is just really odd. So these are just like regular citizens you can just walk up to and just have fisticuffs with them.
Like the old lady at the bus stop. Pow!
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty much.
And they're just happy to do it. It's like, sure, let's have a scrap. Why not?
Always ready.
Yeah. So as you complete more fights, you gain experience points.
Yep.
And which in turn you rank up with. And then other fighters also have a rank. So it's a case of like choosing your battles wisely. So do you stick to those around your level or lower, or do you risk fighting a higher ranked opponent, getting more XP, but the risk of losing it, obviously. Graphically, I really like the look of it. Looks good. I did initially, well, actually, this has been solved when I bought the game, but when I had the beta demo, whatever it was, I did notice there was like a graphical issue. So the game was in 60 frames per second, and then when it switched to the actual gameplay of the fights, it suddenly switched to 30 frames. That was really odd. So in the demo, I had to leave World Tour, change it, and go back onto the World Tour. But in the demo, it didn't save your progress. So I had to go through all that again. But when I came to playing it on the real proper game, I don't know if that had saved or whether it just fixed itself. I don't know. But anyway, so you can sprint around, do a bunch of emotes, things like that. And when it comes to your fighting, you've got your 3 standard strike attacks. So you've got light, medium, heavy. You can do throw moves. The usual Street Fighter fare. And along with the specialist meters that, to be honest, I didn't pay much attention to. I don't really understand all these extra meters that they seem to have on these fighting games. But I'm a button masher. That's what I am. And then you have a mobile phone, and Luke will send you messages, like missions to complete in the open world and things like that.
Yeah.
There's a map to find your way around.
Uh-huh.
What I do like is that you can place pins on the map. I quite like that. So if there's a place of something of interest, you can place a pin and go there. There's obviously the camera function, in case you're into your in-game photography stuff. There's that. And then you've got an item inventory as well. So you can get snacks and things like that to raise your health, which you can actually use in fights as well, can't you?
Yeah, you can use them to like boost health,
Yeah.
attack, defense, stuff like that.
Yeah. They made the big thing about you going to buy pizza from a vendor on the street.
Yeah.
And you can actually fight the vendor as well, because of course you can.
Oh, why not?
Yeah. There's clothes shops as well, so you can spruce up your fighter if you want. Now, what I did notice that when the game's finished, because obviously it's a tutorial to begin with, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's telling you, go to the shop, buy the thing. The only thing I could buy was a baseball cap, which was in a nice teal and pink, which I have to say fits the Joking Dolphin colour scheme, if FIFA Clubs is anything to go by. So that's on brand at least. But it's got some cool music. I do really like the music in it. I think it's really funky and cool.
They've gone with like a hip hop style to this.
Yeah. It's either on the main menus it's pretty good, in the games it's good. I'm liking it all around. But I'm digging it so far. That's about as far as I've got.
As far as you got.
Yeah. It's bad. I think that's generally as far as the demo went as well. So I've reached the point of where I was in the demo, basically.
Right.
But yeah. But no, I'm really digging it. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the purchase. It's
good.
Because I find it quite refreshing to have a fighting game that taps into RPG elements. I just think that's pretty good.
Yeah. I think there's been quite a few, haven't there?
But it feels sort of like 2 games in one. It's like you've got this little RPG thing, and then obviously you got your fighting bit. And I like that the fights are like quick. They're not like long, drawn out.
Well, I think at the moment they're quick because of like everyone's health bars.
Yeah,
pretty low.
I mean, down the line, I suspect
you
that
do
might
about 4
change.
punches, and you might have just beaten someone already.
Yeah, down the line, I suspect that might change. But I'm really liking it so far, and I'm looking forward to playing more of it. I found
great.
because there's some random characters you can find around. I did find some superhero bloke on a roof, but
I spotted him as well.
Yeah, but his level was 28, I think.
28, 29, yeah.
And I was
like, I ain't touching.
Yeah, I was on about 8, and I'm like, I'll come back to you, pal. Well, maybe some other time. But like that, you can roam around the environment. You can find stuff as well, can't you? There's like chests and things like that.
Yeah. So I might as well mention that I also made a similar purchase.
Hey,
was Street Fighter 6. My experience with it is I've done maybe a couple hours the world tour as well. So I've done quite similar as you. I've made my character, kind of styled him a little bit after me, but a bit more eccentric and actually good looking. Done all the stuff with Luke and Kabosh.
just Bosch in it.
Bosch.
I
Yeah,
said Bosch.
sorry, not Kibosh. Yeah, I've probably got a little bit further than you. So I've gone around the little sort of, I suppose, outdoor area, seating area where you do that kind of bit.
The Times Square bit.
Vehicles, yeah. You know, you buy a cap because like
Yeah.
Bosch does the same thing as well. It just does not like sue him at all.
Yeah.
And like you have a sparring fight against Luke while like you and Bosch sort of team up against him, and like
Yeah.
he just like whoops your
Yeah,
ass,
got
as
my
you
ass handed
expect.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Bosch is like, oh, I'm not about this. I want strength now. I need to be strong now, and like he just buggers off basically.
Yeah.
And then after that, I've gone to the point where I've ended up in the Chinatown section. I've gone and visited Chun-Li.
Yeah, that's why I stopped. It was telling me to go meet her.
Yeah, so I've like gone to meet her, and now like she's become now my mentor, and this is where I introduced the different style aspects to it, where you can switch between Luke's style or Chun-Li style.
Yeah.
So you get like different fine aspects to it, and then like I've learned her moves, or a couple of her moves, and I also know how to do like the spinning bird kick in the Roman section. And it's pretty useful because like in Chinatown there's a place where you can go up a ladder, and there's like you can pick up what they call zennies, the money off the floor, and you can smash through barriers. But it also helps you like hover over to like another section and start collecting that stuff.
Oh, I
as
see.
well.
Right. Okay.
So I think with some other character styles, you'll learn different things that will help you traverse around Metro City, I suppose.
That makes sense.
And I didn't get too far after that. I'd bumped into the sort of main gang of Metro City, the Mad Gear Gang, and I've beaten up some of them, and apparently I have to meet someone else now at this point. So I stopped fairly afterwards, but no, I've been enjoying my time away as well. It's different, but I think they've incorporated it in a way that fits the Street Fighter style.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, okay, it's Street Fighter, and you're going out into the streets having fights. So
well, that's it.
there you go.
And I've been leveling up Chun-Li style as well. So when you level up a character style, you can then unlock more interactions with them and sort of more moves from them as well. So you get to learn more of their like special attack move set, which is pretty cool. I need to actually get around to speaking to Luke and talk to him and stuff, because you can also unlock gear from them as well. So I've got these like set of glasses that my character's wearing that boost some of their stats as well, which is interesting.
That's one thing I'm not sure about, is the having to wear certain things to boost stats.
Yeah,
I'd like a transmog sort of system. somewhere.
yeah. I hope there is some form of that in the mode. I've not found it as of yet, but I do hope like you're not just locked to a style because of its stats. You can keep the stats but mismatch styles. That'd be cool.
I'm obviously keeping my teal and pink out though. Got to keep that.
I immediately I immediately bought a different shirt though. The vest went
The
with it.
vest, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually liking it so far. Really enjoying it. I've done as well. I did the arcade mode for Luke as well. I gave that a try. So
has this got like stories for each character? Because I've not actually looked at it.
yeah, so I think what they've got is they do have like a general story mode, but they've also got the arcade mode, which is essentially like a story per character. Like you learn who that character is, their backstory, what's been going on, and sort of how it's advanced. And Luke's was interesting enough. His was very much kind of like, he's like the introductory character to Street Fighter 6, basically. So his story is just basically about him being sort of in the military, kind of retiring from there, and sort of looking to see what else could fulfill his life. So he's like started basically doing street fighting as a way of finding his way in life and stuff, and rivals.
Yeah.
Like I think mine, you can choose between either having like a five match arcade mode or a 12 one. I just started with the 5 one. So I think initially I took on who I fought. I know I fought Guile, I fought Ryu, I fought Ken, think Chun-Li might have been one of them. And then the last fight is like that character's rival fight. So we end up fighting Jamie, who's like the second new character that got introduced in Street Fighter 6. But as you go through fights, the computer level ramps up, and it tells you what level of computer you initially fight against. So I started on like level 3, thought it was pretty easy, got to 4, that was a little more tricky, but got through it quite unscathed. 5 again was a little bit more tricky, but I got through it fine. As soon as I got to like the rival fight, which was 6, I got my ass whooped by the computer. It just suddenly turned on a dime and just started doing combos and all sorts. I was like, Jesus Christ, what's going on here? So once I lost that fight and recontinued, it actually dropped the computer's level down, which I liked. You don't get stuck there, which is nice. I think halfway through as well, actually, there was like a classic Street Fighter bonus mode where you end up having to beat up this truck, this 18-wheeler in like 90 seconds, which is quite
classic
cool.
Street Fighter.
Yeah, gotta love doing those. So yeah, that's as far as I've got. But so far I love the presentation. Everything's just like colours everywhere. Every character seems to have quite a unique personality and like how they stance and the moves they do. Animation wise, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love how flashy the game is. So
I'm almost tempted to give online a bit of a try. I know I'll get my ass handed to me.
Yeah, I
Part of me just thinks, let's just dabble a bit.
I always give online a try, and I think initially I do start winning a few matches, but as soon as I start getting to like that like high level and like people who actually know what they're doing play against me, I'm like, yeah, that's me done.
Yeah, because I'm intrigued by the battle up, isn't it? Wander around.
Yeah.
But
I do want to have a walk around it at some point, because like it looks as though they've got arcade cabinets where you can play other Capcom games. I'd love to see that.
Can you go in and just watch other people?
I think so. I think there's like a big screen that you see other people playing against each other.
Because that'd be something that I think I'd quite like. If I don't want to get involved,
just watch other people.
I'll just go watch. It just reminds me of like
just emote and stuff.
Yeah. It just reminds me of like the things I used to do when I used to go to the arcades when I was younger. Just go watch other people on playing, fighting games and things like that. Used to watch them. Good times. Anyway, that's what I've been playing. So is there anything else you've been playing, Matthew?
Right. Well, there's only one other thing that I've been playing, and it's probably the most obvious thing that I've been playing, really. So I've just been continuing my journey through Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. So I think the last time I spoke, I think it was only a few hours in. I'd made it sort of Hyrule, and I'd gone to like the castle town where everyone had like gathered up since the calamity had happened. Oh, sorry, no, not the calamity, the upheaval, as they call the event. So I'll continue from there. I've gone through the I suppose Zora's domain is where I first started, like the first big sort of dungeon or temple, as they call it, the water temple. As part of the 4 areas that you need to go through start with. So I've gone through there. All of Zora's domain has been like covered in this like poisonous mud from like the sky, islands from above. You need to sort of investigate what's going on there. You bump into a character that's called Sidon, who's like the prince of the Zoras, who you helped with last time in Breath of the Wild. And you essentially go up into the Sky Towers via this like water bridge that you have to end up sort of unlocking through various means and stuff. Gone up there, made my way through sort of the islands and stuff, and then I end up in this massive, what they've called, well, they call it the Water Temple. Is essentially the reason for this mode is like there's something that's essentially blocked these water facets that need to be coming down, and so you have to go through and lock each facet, doing some sort of puzzle or find through the constructs on the island. Got them unlocked, and then I end up fighting this mud monster who ends up like hiding himself in like essentially a massive mud megalodon, basically. So you have to end up like fighting it as it like goes around. It'll stop, do like a form of attack, and how you have to interrupt it is you get this like essentially like water power from Sidon, where it forms like a water bubble around you. So you can either use it as like a form of a shield, it'll protect you after like one attack, or you can use your like primary melee attack, and it swashes like a water Hadouken basically towards this monster, and it like destroys him, and then like the real monster comes out, and you have to like chase it, stop it, attack it, and then essentially start repeating itself. And then after you get half its health down, it starts switching things up. It starts essentially mudding the arena that you fight in. So you if you go into it, you walk really slow basically. And so part of then this phase is you have to like almost like clear the arena up before you can start fighting the monster. Got through that. Took me maybe like 3 or 4 tries. It was a little tricky initially. I could get it to like the second phase, but then that phase is fairly difficult. Having to navigate yourself around the mud and then trying to stop the monster from sort of running away once you've got it out of the shark. But I got through that, and so I've finished sort of Zora's part of it. I've unlocked like I've essentially unlocked the Sidon's power in like a ring on this gauntlet. So you get like almost like a shadow form of him, and he can like help out with you fighting monsters and giving you its power, which is pretty cool. So I got that done. Next went over to the Rito village, which is sort of the bird species of Hyrule. Got through there. Essentially this big twister in the sky has been making everything cold, snowing all the time, so everyone's freezing basically. You need to sort of work away and getting up there. You find out it's this like massive like airship that you need to essentially stop it from forming this twister. Again, once you get there, you have to start going through puzzles to unlock this essentially this like door in effect that like opens up the twister that is producing. Once you get through there, then you end up in this massive sky battle with like a ice dragon. It's a pretty cool fight actually. I thought it was quite unique for Zelda. You're essentially like floating around with your like bird companion who helps shoot arrows, and then his power is that it can give you like a gust of wind forward to use while you're gliding, I suppose. And the whole fight was essentially you have to like dodge these icicles that it shoots at you. That opens up like a weak point on its body. There's like 3 sections that you have to go through and do that with basically. You do that, you get to half health, and then the next phase is it starts spawning hurricanes that you have to dodge while you're in the air and stuff. I absolutely loved the fight. I thought it was really unique for Zelda. Loved it, got through it. Now so I've finished the Wind Temple now. And then I've just been doing sort of odd side quests and whatnot to unlock certain like gear or just help sort of push the lore along. Like you get to learn in one of the villages there's these rings that have fallen from the sky, and you have to go in each one and find out like the translations on a lot of these like slabs that tell you like a bit of the lore of the story, which is quite interesting. So yeah, literally been doing that. I've unlocked all the maps, so I've done all of the Sky Towers as well. That took a while. And then just going through the depths as well. Like, the depths is absolutely terrifying to be in because you don't know what's going to pop out in the darkness. Like, there's one point where I ran out of arrows, so I can shoot these seeds that form like a light that help you guide your way along it. So at one point I was just going through like complete darkness just to see what would happen and stuff, and absolutely got killed by whatever it was that was in there. Couldn't tell. So yeah, I've absolutely been enjoying it. It's blown my mind just how bigger this game is compared to Breath of the Wild. Like how much more they could have added to this. Like Breath of the Wild was already like a massive game, and this is just essentially like doubled it in effect. But no, love the lore. Been collecting these dragon tears as well, which give you like a glimpse of like backstory of like what's happening with Zelda, like where she went, what she's doing and stuff. And that's been quite interesting as well. Finding out sort of like the lore of this version of Hyrule, how it was founded, what the sages are, and what all that has to do with Ganondorf, like what he's been doing and stuff. So, no, absolutely loved it. Absolutely been loving it, and we'll love to continue it again. I think I'm gonna make my way to the Goron Sea next, so I'll do like the fire stuff, and then I'm gonna leave the Gerudo as like the last pit that I want to do. So, interestingly enough, I was actually reading about the depths as well, and apparently the depths is some form of like dark mirror version of the top of Hyrule. So like where you find the shrines that you do on top, you'll find exactly in the same place these like light routes that like expand the map in the depths, so you know where stuff is. And like apparently certain cities and landmarks on top are like almost there's something there as well in the depths, something like mines or some like abandoned like city or something. It's quite interesting how they've like just reverse engineered the map on top to make a whole map underneath and make it unique as well. It's pretty cool. So yeah, can't wait to get back to it. Right, well, that's what I've been playing. What have you been playing, Nathan?
So I've also bought Street Fighter 6. No, I'm joking. No, not just yet on that one. So the first game that I've been playing and I want to talk about, funnily enough, me and Matt were talking about this off the podcast because I was trying to make him guess what it was, but he didn't get it. So
Can I guess?
Yeah, go on then.
Oh, you're not going to give me a clue? Just want to guess any game.
Of all the millions of games. Okay, so it is I'd say like a horror / adventure game. It could be classed as a walking simulator, and it's got point and click elements and puzzle elements as well.
You've just been playing what Mark's been playing?
Yeah.
Do you know what? There are a lot of parallels to it, which I'll get onto.
Oh, is it something I've never heard of? Maybe.
I don't know. You might have not. You might have heard of it. I don't know. So it's called Last Days of Lazarus.
No, I don't know that one.
So this game is set in 1999 in a post-Soviet era Romania. That's kind of what it's going for. It's not Romania, but it's kind of that's the aesthetic it's going for.
Yeah.
So you play as Lazarus, as is in the name, and the game starts with you getting a phone call from your sister, Ludmilla, saying that your mother's killed herself and basically begging you to come back home to help out. And you're like, no, I'm too busy, bugger off. Anyway, so yeah, Lazarus, top guy. Anyway, you fast forward a couple of weeks to when Lazarus can actually come back home to kind of help with his mother, to attend to the funeral, that kind of stuff. And you get to your mum's apartment, well, she's dead, but you get to her apartment where Ludmilla's living, and you find that she's not home. So the first thing you've got to do is try and find out where she is. But when you get there, the flat itself that you're in, the apartment, is, I'd say it feels like a 70s style flat. Like any conceptions you had about like a communist flat, it kind of ticks all the boxes. Like there's Russian dolls everywhere. It's very religious. So there's like loads of pictures of Jesus everywhere that makes it quite creepy. The carpets are ugly as hell. And there's an eeriness to it because it's quite dark, but quite cluttered as well. So all the furniture's kind of got this really colourful aspect. And in order to kind of get through to the next stage within the game, you've got to kind of find certain things to trigger actions. So you've got to look around, and then basically if you need to look at something, it'll highlight itself in yellow. So you can't just click on absolutely everything and look at it. But there are some things that can help you. So for example, you'll find like a calendar, and you'll be able to look at it and think, oh right, it looks like Ludmilla's gone to the cemetery. So kind of you can use that to try and say, right, I need to leave the flat. But if you try and leave and you've not triggered everything, then you'll have to walk around the flat and try and find out a bit more information, because you're trying to look into the family's past to see what happened as to why their mother killed herself and what's happening with Ludmilla. So there's a few different things going on in the family dynamic. So, but yeah, to me, it kind of, it portrayed itself as a horror, but there are a couple of jump scares in there. So, for example, at one point when crap's hitting the fan, you'll try and open a closet door and you'll see your dead mother hung as like a vision. And that kind of crapped me up a bit. But it's not all for nothing, because you do get a trophy for finding a dead body. So there is that.
Oh, great, yeah.
So once you've finished like at the flat, you go and try and find Ludmilla. And as all this is going on, there's basically this general that's trying to take over the country. So there's like the political aspect of, you meet people that are kind of for him and then against him, and you kind of sit in the camp as like you're against him and you don't want him to take over the country, because it's a turbulent time. But you eventually, from going out looking for it, you get back to the flat, which is kind of where I'd probably say 2/3 of the game is, because when you're in the flat, certain doors are locked and you can't get in until something gets triggered. And eventually something does happen where you get into the bathroom, and these kind of like, it gets weird at this point, because there's like these like flesh creatures like with claws, and it's like got teeth in its like claw mouth thing. I don't know. This is where it kind of lost me a bit. And I didn't know whether it was Lazarus going crazy or whether it was just part of it. But eventually other people come in and they can see it as well. So I just know it's not Lazarus. It's just whatever's going on. Anyway, as you get around the flat, you manage to get into the dining room, and the dining room floor collapses. And as it collapses, you see Ludmilla, and it turns out that she's dead. So you find out that she's dead eventually. So sorry, sis. But you also find out is that the flat below, they have these people in, that they've been watching her. So they have cameras set up in the flat, and they've been watching all her actions in every single room. And it goes, and the next door neighbours, well, next door, the ones below, their son was actually with Ludmilla, the sister. So they were kind of going out and they were planning to leave the country. But in order to get visas to leave the country, Ludmilla had to sleep with the neighbour's father to get documents. So there was a bit of like exploitation there. Because, yeah, the game does cover some really heavy things like incest, exploitation, a lot of heavy religious elements, death, obviously, suicide, overdosing on drugs. So there is a ton of like facets to it. And the game itself is only like 3.5, 4 hours long. So it's kind of a lot to pack in. but I don't want to kind of spoil the latter bits of the game just in case anyone plays it. I've already put a couple of spoilers in there already, but it does get pretty crazy. It's like near the end or the middle of the game, they introduce these like mechanical creatures, a bit like War of the Worlds style, that this General Zotov's using to take over the country, which is strange. But I was going to give one massive thing away then, but I've decided not to. But anyway, but just just an overview, just in terms of like the visuals, it is a stunning game, and I love the aesthetic. The voice acting leaves a bit to be desired. So the person that voice acts Lazarus, it just sounds like he doesn't care. So all these massive narrative things are happening, and he's like, "Oh no, my sister's dead." It's like he doesn't give a crap about what's going on around him. But
Phoning it in.
yeah, that's it. But apart from the point and click thing, there are puzzle elements to it. So this more comes down to you finding certain things to put together to cause something to happen. So at one point you're looking around this orphanage and you've got to find these like gemstones to power this thing to create something. So that's where most of the gameplay comes, like finding objects and then knowing how to put them together to cause something to happen. And then that's what leads into like reading these letters and looking at these books to try and find out what you need to do, which is quite interesting. But unlike what happened with you, Mark, there is a chapter option. So if you do miss any trophies, you can go back and replay them. And you don't even have to play the full chapter, because once you've got the collectible for the trophy, you can just quit out and then you keep everything, which was good. And I did actually platinum it. So that another platinum is on the list. It did take me about 5 hours. So I got through the game, and then took me like 4.5 hours, and then I spent another half an hour tidying up any little things that I've missed. Because it's mostly the collectible side of it that'll get you most of your trophies, and then maybe making some things. But there was one funny thing that happened actually, because every now and again you'll get phone calls from people in the flat, and I was too busy looking for something, so I missed a phone call, and it ended up being this priest. And basically, I should have had a talk with him about blessing the house when these flesh creatures came, and I didn't have the conversation, so I walked into the living room, and there was just this Orthodox priest stood in the corner blessing the flat, and it absolutely craps me up. I'm like, what are you doing here, sunshine? So, yeah, that was quite funny and scary at the same time. But, I mean, to be honest, I think I only paid about £8 for it, and it was quite intriguing, I'd say. It's, it's pretty... I think a little bit like you, Mark. I wouldn't say it's good, but it's just, it's an experience. Yeah. And if you want an easy platinum, yeah, definitely worth a go. As Matt shakes his head, because he believes that he should put hundreds of hours into a game to get a platinum, unlike My Name is Mayo. But anyway, so yeah.
It's not even that. I think you guys have just been playing really depressing stuff recently.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not been the cheeriest.
No, yeah, that's true.
It's
like,
are you guys
Martha
all
was
right?
dead last week. I've forgotten the game. What the game's called?
Lazarus?
Now. Last Days of Lazarus, yeah. I mean, the ending's in the title, really, but anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I'd probably say like solid, like 7 out of 10 game. I think the story beats keep you going with it, and yeah, definitely worth a go. So the next game is a bit happier, so you'll be happy about this, Matt. It is Goat Simulator 3, the pre-order version.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. The pre-order version.
Yeah, the pre-order edition, not version, edition. Now this was hilarious. Basically, just to set the scene, it starts out you, the goat, being in this cart, Skyrim style, and after it does the tutorial, it basically it does say that like now you've had the Skyrim start, now we can get into the game. But funnily enough, at any point you can skip that bit, but you do get a trophy for not skipping. So yeah, just one thing there. But it does everything that we expect from a goat simulator game. It's absolutely insane. You can headbutt people, scream, lick people. You can even drive, actually. I don't know if that's new, but yeah, the goat can drive, and most of the cars have got boost or nitrous. So that's always fun. And you can use that to run people over. So it's absolutely mental because, like, for every single section you go into, basically it unlocks like a little task you have to do. So, for example, I wandered into this garden and it said, right, you've got to grow these plants. So you have to go and find these plants to say, right, I need to go and get the fertilizer, tip the fertilizer on the plants, and then scream at them to make them grow. So I did that little task, but I kept screaming and kind of, what does a goat do? Bar? No, that's sheep. What's that sound does a goat make? Anyway, whatever
Like
that's
howl.
yeah, whatever that sound is, if you keep pressing the button to make the sound, the plants would just keep growing. And I got like quite far into the sky, and I thought to myself, how long can I push this? And I was literally there about 5 minutes later, just kept doing it. And then eventually I got a trophy for it, for being in the stratosphere on this big, massive plant. It was absolutely insane. I'll send you a picture later. I wasn't in space, but I was like...
I was just going to say, I thought you were going to say that the game just crashed on you.
Oh, no.
Because you pushed it too far.
Be too insane. But yeah, I got that. That was pretty funny. I have had a couple of crashes where like my goat's like gone into a wall, and I've had like I've got these boots that'll like basically boost him along, and basically got thrown out of the wall and like flew off somewhere. So there are like crazy glitches like that can happen. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. I managed to find this little hut that resembled Lord of the Rings, and in the hut there was a ring. So as part of that little adventure, I've got to find this mountain and throw the ring into a volcano. And I think it would call like Dilbo Baggins or something like that. I thought it were going to be Dildo Baggins, but that was my dyslexia kicking in. So yeah, I'm just trying to find the mountain to do that. I've ruined a child's birthday party. That was fun.
And what about in the game as well?
Hey! Not done it in game. What else have I done? Oh, this was really cool. So basically, this is basically this old lady with like this fruit launcher that I had to kill. I killed her, got into a house.
Excuse me. Fruit launcher.
Yeah, she had like a little rocket launcher gun, like shooting fruit at me. And one of the tasks was to get rid of her. But when you get into a house, you went through this door, and it started like a, do you know old school, not Duke Nukem, Wolfenstein. So basically the game morphed into like an 8-bit version, where I had to keep going through all these doors, and there was loads of these pixelated old ladies firing fruits at me that I had to kill.
Okay.
And eventually I got to the end of it, and I got a rocking chair that I could use as legs. So like instead of like walking, I'd be like flying around on this rocking chair. That's one thing that's pretty crazy about it, like all the different outfits you can get. So right now I've got this leotard on, rocket boots, and like a doll's face instead of a goat face, which is pretty weird, but yeah. And as you do all these tasks, you get like points to use, so you can spend them in the shop to get like all these clothes and things for your goat. One thing I do like about it actually is when you do load the game up, it comes up with like 3 other members that can join your party. Because you can choose like offline mode or online mode. So I've gone for online mode just in case anyone wants to join my lobby, which should be quite interesting. But yeah, apart from the child's birthday party, I've launched a nuke. So there's this silo
just
that you
casually
can
launched a nuke.
There's this silo you can get into, and basically the people running the lab will try and stop you, Anyway, I headbutted them all away, and I found the big red button. Well, there's two of them actually, and I ended up like headbutting him until it got to like maximum power, and then it blew pretty much about a fifth of the map up. And when you go into that location now, there's like nuclear fallout everywhere, and it all goes grey. So yeah, there's that. I found a ballerina school, and I managed to headbutt them so that they started twirling, and it made a giant cyclone and started ripping through the map. So there's like little Easter eggs like that you can find that'll just absolutely mess things up. Oh, it's fantastic. What else have I done? Oh, I set up a production line to create human-sized bananas that walk around. That's something. But honestly, so far, I'm really happy with the £13 that I've spent on it. Absolute bargain.
Sounds
like a laugh.
And I've only played it for an hour, and I've done all that. There are little collectibles as well. So there's like these little golden goats you can find throughout the map. So there's about 30 odd of them that you need to try and find as well. So yeah, I'll probably never find all those, but for each one you get about 1,000 coins to use to spend in the shop. So it's good. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Well, there you go. If you enjoyed listening to us, please consider tuning in next time. We release bi-weekly on Tuesdays. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on YouTube and Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. Until next time, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Take care.
See you later.